Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Just Be. I am John Emilio, along with my buddy,
Hey-o! Henry Beltra.
Henry Beltra. Okay, Friday. It's a Friday afternoon right now. I'm sure everybody's had a busy week. If not, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's
Good for
very
you.
welcome.
That's very welcome. But if you have, or wherever you are right now, as we always do, it's nice way to start the show is always with a nice 1 minute breather, a little guided meditation, just to kind of get us all.
And do it now, because we're going to start charging for this.
Yeah. So let's get into it. If everybody could just, however you are seated, try to get comfortable, and let's start taking a couple of deep, conscious breaths. Remember, you could do whether you're doing an open-eyed meditation or a closed-eyed meditation. It's totally up to you. But keep your focus on your breath or an extremity of your body or what you're looking at without labeling it. Right? We're not looking to label anything. We're just looking to notice. That's the whole point of this. We're looking to notice. Let's take a couple of deep breaths in. Hold it for a second. Let it out. Feel your lungs fill with air as you inhale and your chest expands, and then feel on the exhale as it comes out. Remember, this is just a phenomenal way to slow that mind stream back down and kind of anchor yourself in a little bit of presence, so you're a little bit more open-minded and clear as we go through our episode. So let's take two more. Last one. And welcome back.
We're back.
We're back. We didn't go anywhere, but we're back.
We're back.
I haven't moved from my chair.
No. Well, we did have a pre-show today again.
Again, yes. Actually, this time I actually started taping it without telling Henry that I was taping it. But the pre-show started off talking about work. So I was like, this is boring. So I stopped it. And then it got good.
Yeah, got good because we all come back to this. Mindfulness. And I'm going to bring up something that you told me the other day. It's the same ice cream cone. It's just a different flavor. It's still...
Yeah.
You know, and we're always...
Different applications for it.
Yeah, we always revolve around the same topic. And
well, the topic's never going to change because that's the whole, the name of our show is Just Be.
Right, yeah.
So, so it's always going to be about that presence and that mindfulness and practice is what it's always going to be surrounded by. And you could use it in daily activities, whether it's at work or in personal life. So there was I know we spoke about meditation a couple of times, and I just want to kind of drive this point home with everybody because I think it's really important. Alex Mills, who's a spiritual teacher that I worked with in the past, great guy. He spent 14 years in a Zen monastery.
Like me.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, of course.
He posted something today. Anyway, it was. I don't want to read the whole post. I probably can, but I don't want to read the whole post. It's what I love about Zen meditation is he says that it's not about the meditation. And we've said this so many times, right? That it's. So I'll read a little bit about it. He says, I mean that meditation, seated formal meditation, is not dependent upon having a particular experience while meditating. Your body can be in pain. You could be fidgety, distracted, bored, full of energy, annoyed by the jackhammering going on across the street, or trying to stay awake, which has happened to me, by the way, with the staying awake. All experiences are welcome. I've seen an assumption that we are to be calm, peaceful, and thought-free during meditation. This is the ideal, and everything else is wrong or a mistake. He says this is a harmful assumption. This harmful assumption is what I've seen discourage people from meditating, from practicing meditation. So that when I saw that this afternoon on his feed, I was like, I just want to bring that up again today. Yeah, because it's one of the biggest driving forces that push people away from doing this or practicing mindfulness at all. Is there's a They expect a certain result, right?
Yeah.
That it has to be a certain way, and it doesn't. Like there's not a, this isn't a, well, this is how your meditation has to feel.
Yeah.
This is how your meditation has to be. It's not the way it is. It could be the most uncomfortable, where you're, like we talk about posture a couple of times,
Yep.
where you actually feel like, oh my God, my back hurts like this, right? But you're sitting and you go, my back hurts, and you get a little fidgety. Bringing your awareness to what's actually happening and not creating the story around, oh, I can't do this because my back hurts, my ass hurts, my leg hurts, this is boring, I can't, there's noise, this dog next door is barking. Noticing that all is the meditation,
Yeah.
right? That's the key. So please, if you take anything away from anything we've talked about when it comes to meditation, don't, if you're on Instagram or Facebook and I follow many spiritual teachers, all their posts are filtered, right? Like everybody else's, right? It's filtered posts. They make everything seem Zen, right?
Correct.
Like, and I can tell you from firsthand experience because I've worked with guys, with the type of individuals. They're not. They experience it all. So, but the perception is, right, that
I'm so happy you mentioned this. Because this is important. This is the equivalent of, again, you go through Instagram, you go through Facebook, and you see this guy with the ridiculous, I'm going to talk about it, the ridiculous body. The guy's a bodybuilder, and he's amazing, shredded, and huge everything. But you don't know that that's only for, number one, it's filtered for pictures, and number two,
Oh, absolutely.
it's not possible to stay like that year-round. You have these fluctuations.
unrealistic expectations.
And there's work that goes on in order for you to build muscle. For example, you got to eat more. When you eat more, you lose your abs
Yeah.
a little bit. Like everything gets blurry a little bit. But if you just go by that one picture or those two pictures on Instagram, you think that they're like that all year round. Same thing with your post of these spiritual teachers. They give you the polished, finished product, but they don't actually, well, maybe they do, but at that moment you're not thinking
Yes.
anything is meditation.
Well, to the beginner or to the person who's seeing it for the first time, that's going to be their initial.
Correct.
That's going to be the interpretation of this. Oh, this is what
Yeah.
meditation is going to give me. This is how it has to be.
Cross-legged.
And when they try and they don't have that result, they get completely discouraged. And they're like, this isn't for me. Like I love my wife. I've heard my wife say plenty of times, I can't do it. I'll fall asleep. And it's hard for you, again, the only way you get over that hump, only way you kind of, break that cycle is to keep practicing.
Yep.
Because it's a practice. But people will say, I can't, I'll fall asleep, I can't sit like that, oh, it's not worth it. No, I don't need to watch my thoughts. And it's like, okay, you're missing the whole point of what this is, right? You're missing the whole point of what it's about, And
Yep.
social media, I think, just unfortunately can make it harder for people who want to kind of have a realistic expectation of what something is.
Yeah.
Now, once, like a person like me, I've been doing this for a while, I read those posts, I understand what's behind it.
Right.
I get what's behind it. If I looked at a post of somebody working out, I probably wouldn't, I'd be, well, I have to eat it.
Right.
I could only eat
Right,
like,
right.
chicken and rice, and that's it. I'm
Right.
done.
It's the inverse.
Yeah.
Right.
So for me, like, okay, with spirituality, I see beyond what they're trying to say. I understand what's involved in it. And like somebody working out, okay, you see a guy picture shredded, 30 days you could get like this,
Right.
or 4 months you could get like this, do this program. Well, unless you actually go and research the program and understand it, there might be a lot of truth to it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff out there that's not, but there might be a lot of truth to it. Same thing with these spiritual kind of posts that you see. A lot of people will just either fly by them because they're not sexy enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Or they'll look at it and be like, oh, this is, how am I supposed to get to a place where my mind doesn't say anything?
I think equivalent.
You don't, by the way.
I think equivalent is basically kind of what you said. So basically, what you see on social media is a glossy lacquer, but behind that lacquer there's wood and there's substance,
Yeah.
and all you get caught up in is the lacquer.
Is a lacquer.
And that
Agreed.
polish and the sheen. And that is basically what social media is doing to all of us. Unless you have a shiny polish, we'll keep going. And so you take a show like this, you take a podcast like this, and you're like, wow, a relatable, you give it lacquer. you got something good.
Yeah.
There's no lacquer here. We're all wood.
We're all substance.
Yeah, and this is important because you need, for what John just said. So, again, and let's say the scale of spiritual teachers is a scale of 0 to 10. I look at John and I know he's not a 10, but certainly for me, he's a solid, he's on his way to being a 10. But he would probably, I think you would probably recognize Mills as a 10.
I mean, I would if you asked him. He's going to give you the same answer I am.
Perhaps, but
My
it's
goal-
all,
my
it's
goal-
all
my-
perception.
It's all perception. Like I would say, my goal isn't a 10 or a 1. It's just to be practicing every day.
Okay, but it's but
So
that
your perception, yes, you would put a number on what you perceive somebody
Right, just to
where they're
kinda-
at.
just to
Yeah, I
kinda make
get
it
you.
easy.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
And-
I would perceive him as, yeah, sure. I perceive a guy like Alex Mills or Eckhart Tolle. These guys as 10s. Like,
Yeah.
they've done the work, they get it, they understand it. Like
Yeah.
their posts resonated.
So when a 10 says that,
Sure.
it weighs on all of us underneath that 10 that says, okay, now, therefore, if you're listening to this and you don't consider yourself a 1, like me, that's where I'm at. But
That's
if-
perception also. He
yeah,
perceives
it's
himself.
all, but it's all perception.
Yeah.
Fine, maybe I'm a 3. But whatever it is in that fake scale, you're probably thinking, or where you've tried to do some sort of meditation, and I'm talking to you from experience, as a person who currently, live in the flesh, has a hard time wrestling with this thing called meditation because, oh my God, perhaps it's ADD, perhaps it's my non-understanding of it. But you just said that, and therefore, I've been meditating. The problem is, I didn't know it because I would try it.
Yes.
And just the act of trying it, whether you think you're successful or not, that's not the point. You're successful because you tried it.
Because you tried
That's
it.
it. You're done. Not you're done, but you're well on your way. And I guess, if you relate it to me, that's where I'm at. I'm on a journey.
But it's always looking at it as a journey and nothing more, But that's where, like we were saying before, it's where social media just sometimes, I personally, in my experience, I feel that it has so many benefits,
Yes, sir.
especially in this world where the spiritual, but unfortunately, it gets kind of,
John,
You know.
I'm telling you, honestly,
does get kind of,
we were talking about this before. right?
yeah, because we're trying to get our stuff out and
And
we're not social media experts.
And I'm
at
going to
all.
say something, and I hope you will agree, and I hope everybody else will be like, yeah, you're right. So on the one hand, what I have been doing these past few days is getting to know more about Facebook, getting to know more about YouTube. And as I'm getting to know more about these things, I'm thinking, bro, think of all the fights Facebook has started. Think of all
and unfortunately, yes, because you have a lot of people who believe everything.
Think of all the arguments. Think of all the crap that goes on in these places. But yet think about how much power these things have to actually
do good, do have a benefit.
It's
Not to use the word
amazing,
good.
John.
Yeah,
I swear to you, if it were possible to flip the script and have more good
yeah.
out there, and you would have people benefiting more, being more productive with their lives, being more productive with their...
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's the unfortunate. What's the saying? The path to hell is paved with the best of intentions, right?
Yeah.
I think social media,
Yeah.
and we're not trying to get on a social media tangent here because I'm not against it at all. I'm not even trying to make it sound like that, but we're just trying to make a point here in how it affects people on a daily basis. I think it originally started out with the intention of getting people together,
Sure.
and then like anything else becomes a business. But that's besides the point. But if people would just practice any kind of awareness, whether it's like I say meditation, just mindfulness in general, bringing their attention to their thoughts, bringing their attention to their breath, taking that 3-second pause before they answer somebody back or click like or click comment and write something like somebody posts something that's triggering.
A clap back.
Well, yeah, okay, that's what it's called.
Oh yeah, that's the whippersnappers that you a clap back. Or what I say, the
By
teeny
the way,
boppers.
when you said clap back, you sounded like you were in the now. But when you said
Okay.
whippersnappers,
I got to bring you in. I got to bring you in. And I know you know whippersnappers,
yeah, sure, I do.
and I know you know teeny boppers.
And I know teeny boppers.
Well,
yeah.
teeny boppers and whippersnaps are constantly clapping back.
Yeah, but the problem with that is there's no conscious awareness, and somebody says something triggering, here comes the automatic response.
Yeah.
Without any awareness, that egoic thought, that mind stream just comes and says, okay, whoever, John, Henry, whoever it is, you have to be right. You have to tell this person that they're wrong. They need to know. So let me type a comment on an electronic device and put it out there for whoever to see so they know that you're wrong.
Yep.
And I'll sit there and I'll be like, and there is what is wrong with not just social media today,
Us.
the media,
Us.
with people as a whole.
Us.
Because all this does, all that behavior does is amplify it
Yeah.
when you're not on your phone. So now you're with somebody else and you're talking, that same behavioral trait doesn't disappear. It just shows up now in your present life, in your real life, when you're talking to somebody. And when you do it there, it just becomes even more because there becomes no disconnect between this and somebody in front of you. Like you respond to people on your phone the way you respond to people in front of you. So, and it's easy, so easy to do it on your phone that you don't realize how it becomes a habit very quickly to give that unconscious answer. I want to say, hopefully, in the last year or so, I've noticed a few people in my life who've kind of woken up and, had this kind of awareness all of a sudden that, wow, what's this insanity that everybody's just barking at each other constantly? And I'm like, yes. Don't you see how it just drags you in and it keeps you in this unconscious state? Like your ego grabs hold of you and it gives you so many little cookies or sugar drops to make you feel good that you got that right answer in, or you think you're right. Then now you're acting like that all the time.
So it's like,
It spills over.
It's like they say in the Matrix. So
Great movie, I love that.
you are in the Matrix until you meet acceptance commitment therapy, or this mindfulness.
Yeah, well, ACT is just a scientific version
You
of
are in the
mindfulness,
Matrix.
yeah.
You don't know it, but once you're able to, let's say, decide that, okay,
Which pill do you swallow, Neo? The red pill or the blue pill?
oh, I'm the red
I
pill.
forgot which one it was.
I'm the red pill. I don't want to live in the blue pill.
Yeah, so I mean,
But as a person who is currently actively trying to, let's say, improve myself in this matter, I'm telling you that I'm aware of what I'm going to say before I say it. I'm not going to tell you that it's 100%, but it's it's a good percentage. And I got to say this for anybody listening, because I don't know how deep people listen. I don't know if they listen because they're friends. I don't know if they listen because they just want to hear us say something, stupid. But I can tell you this. This is gonna. I hope this resonates. Like, don't practice not engaging in that negative comment, not because it's going to hurt the other person's feelings. All right. I'm going to tell you to be a little bit selfish about it. It's for you. It's like every negative thing that you put out there, it's for you.
comes back to you
It's
too.
for you.
Yeah,
So just and
that
that.
energy comes right back.
So again, to use my number reference, so let's say if I was a 10 out of 10 responder, like clap back, clap back. I find myself being I'm currently at a 4 out of 10. That for me, it's a lot, because that clapback is not only social media. That clapback is also conversations with people, conversations with family, conversations with
Well, it spills over.
yeah.
I like this clapback.
Yeah.
That clapback spills over into everything else. It doesn't just stay on your phone and stay on social media.
Correct.
It spills over into everything else. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I'm asking if you can be selfish about it, because it's easier to be selfish, because you're always looking out for yourself, right? That's you're always looking out. Your ego's trying to protect you, right?
Yeah.
All right, so don't engage negatively just for the other person, also and primarily for yourself.
Absolutely. Well, not engaging that kind of behavior. Like you said, and I think that was perfectly well said. The way you put it is not because you don't want to hurt that person's feelings. Well, yes, that's obviously a definite a point that you could make, which would make sense to not do that. But it's for you. The more you put that negative energy out, like the more you act like that, you attract that kind of behavior around you.
Yeah.
So what people don't realize is when somebody's we use the word egoic because it's just in mainstream, the way people speak today, they're all everybody, when they hear the word ego, they kind of put this negative connotation to it. And we've spoken about this, how ego isn't really it's good or bad. It's an opinion, like good and bad are opinions. So ego isn't good or bad. It just is. It's the thinking mind. It's how you interpret it and the label you put on it. Excuse me. But when you put that energy out, when you put that egoic kind of I need to be right energy out all the time, well, when you're walking around, and you could be, and listen, you don't have to take my word for this if you want to. This is my personal experience because I've seen this firsthand and I've experienced firsthand. When I'm around people who are negative, who maybe not, I don't want to say negative people, but who tend to have that kind of egoic kind of pattern of speaking and responding where they need to be right, they seem to be surrounded by people like that. And whether it's unconsciously they don't realize it, or, I mean, look, you could ask any spiritual teacher you might know how egos search out other egos to feed off of, and they all kind of band together. And again, this isn't to say it's in a good way or a bad way, but that behavior kind of sticks together. And opposite of that, people who are less egoic with their thinking or don't attach to it or don't put any stock into it or believe it or have that awareness to see it. Like for me, like I'll still, sorry about that phone ringing, I'll still,
Get the secretary to answer that.
I'll still, I'll still have those thoughts and I'll feel them, but I won't, at this point, I won't buy into it. This has never happened before, has it?
Yeah, it doesn't
Is it
matter.
done? It's done.
It's
All right.
not even there.
It's not even there. But people who do have that kind of thinking where they're just, so fixed with how they have to talk and how they have to respond, it kind of feeds off each other. So you're never going to get away from it if you keep acting like that.
There's a saying in Spanish.
Yes.
My mom used to say it all the
Yeah.
time. It says, Dios los crea y solo se juntan. So God makes them,
Makes them look at
and alone they get together.
And alone they get together.
And
Perfect.
by themselves they get together. It's
Beautiful.
almost like like attracts like. You know what I mean? Like it's the law of attraction. Yeah, 100%. And I wrote, as you're talking, I wrote myself a note so I wouldn't forget something. And it's the same thing where I find myself having a new feeling coming out of this. My new feeling is this one, where I'm telling you again, I'm open book. I'm working very hard on my day to day. Let's say minute to minutely. Sometimes I'm mindful. Sometimes I'm successful in my mindfulness.
Sure.
Sometimes I slipped and my ego took over. But I'm working on it. I find myself, the new feeling I have is frustration. Frustration when others, let's say, are not as mindful. Because it's like, you're expecting a better reaction from the person you're talking to, or the person
Sure.
you're with, or the people you're with, and I forget that not everybody is on this journey. Not everybody's trying to improve. People just are, like you said, well, I am who I am. That's just who I am. And so it's a little bit frustrating because you almost want to tell them, do you know how much better and how much happier and how much saner you will feel and better you'd be if you just pay attention to this thing called mindfulness, right? So right now, that comment. Like you want to pick it apart and help them,
Sure.
but you really can't because you can't go out there. You can't be preachy, because it comes off as
Well,
preachy.
the whole preachy part, I think, has to do with how you approach it with somebody. So if you come off like you're trying to preach, it's going to sound preachy.
Yeah.
That's why I always say the best thing you could do for somebody who's acting like that is be a mirror for them. If I was having this conversation, I was talking to my mechanic yesterday. I was at a shop, and we were talking. He was talking about one of his employees, and it came up like how he's a good guy, but he's got some issues, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I try to tell him what to do, and I was like, he's a younger guy. I said, do you want to show him Like, you want him to understand, right? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, so show him by example. It's like, don't tell him. This is personal. It has nothing to do with work.
Right.
Not like, you did something
Good.
wrong at work.
Right.
Right, you make that distinction. I said, if he's doing something wrong,
Right.
yeah, you don't want somebody's car to end up in a wall.
This is not how you change the oil. Yeah.
But you're talking about his personal life. I'm like, if you tell him you need to do this, he might not hear you, especially if he's a stubborn person. I said, be a mirror for him. Show him when he acts stubborn. Show him by not engaging it how he should react. In time, he's going to see his actions and your reactions. You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with people who act like that, the best thing you could do is be that mirror, and you show them how to act by you not reacting to them.
Yep.
Eventually, and you have to have a little bit of patience with this, eventually they realize it, because the more somebody's like, oh, fucking Henry, do you believe that the politician, blah, 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 blah. And Henry just sits there and goes, oh.
Yeah.
And the person's like,
I got nothing for you.
I got nothing for you. And they'll come back again, again, and again, and eventually they're gonna be like, they're gonna realize, what am I talking about? What are we doing? What's the point of this conversation?
I'll tell you what the point is. That last week, I was ready to go. That's what the point is.
You're a Viking, as you put it. I'm a Viking.
And now you got to really, you got to retrain. And everybody's like, well, why do you retrain? Because it's the betterment of yourself.
Exactly.
It's
It's so simple, but it's so simple and so profound at the same time. Like, it's something so simple to do, but yet the ramifications of it are endless. Like, they're amazing. But it's as simple of a thing it is to do. It's not an easy task at first. It's not easy to. Once you obtain awareness, and you could watch your thoughts and you could watch those emotions as they come up, it's very easy. It's almost like, wow, why wasn't I able to do this? It's because you never looked past thought. You would think and you would believe. You would think and you would believe. You would think and you believe. Now all of a sudden, you think, you see, I don't like where that thought's going to take me. I don't want to be there in that argument, because you remember how you used to feel when you would have those arguments spewing anger because you had to be right, and at the end, even if your ego kind of got the thumbs up, how long did that thumbs up last before you wanted to make another point? And like, but do they really, did you understand what I was saying? It doesn't end.
And would you agree that 99% of those are useless, worthless, and have no bearing on anything?
It depends on I think it depends on the conversation, but that kind of behavior, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a conversation about anything, but that kind of behavior, yes. And like we were saying before, unfortunately, my something I kind of look at, and I'm with a little bit of apprehension, and I'm like, well, I don't know how this is going to play in the future, is how social media does paint a picture sometimes that can dissuade somebody from doing something that's beneficial, or persuade somebody to do something that's not beneficial for them, just because there are these kind of filters. And I try to use a spiritual teacher example, because this is kind of the world that I'm in, where even spiritual teachers or OCD advocates that I follow and I've kind of dialogued with in the past, the things that they put out are all these filtered TikToks and this and that, and sometimes it paints too rosy of a picture of something where it seems unobtainable, and people get discouraged about it. They're like, well, I can't be like that person. I can never be like that person. Look at this guy.
So forget it.
He's so zen. I don't understand this. So I tried to meditate, and my mind kept saying, pink bunny, pink bunny, pink bunny, and I couldn't stop thinking of the pink bunny. I can't do this.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. If they actually, unfortunately, if that person had the whereabouts to actually say, okay, I'm going to look into this with this person. Let me call John, or let me call Alex, let me call, well, you can't call that car. It'd be nice to, but we can't call that car at all.
Oh, I got him right here.
Or let me reach out to this and find out, or let me do more research on this, or let me take a couple of mindful classes, or speak to somebody on a one-on-one who's gone through this. You're going to see that my mind says pink bunny 1,000 times a day. It's not like it doesn't. I'm able to watch the pink bunny and let the pink bunny flow by and keep my focus where I want it. Right?
Well, because the first time that you tried it, and the theoretical pink bunny came out, you didn't quit at it. You kept going with it, and you kept
Yes.
doing it, and it's an improvement. It's a maturity that when you first start, you're a rookie, and then your rookie status improves, or
Yes,
you become
absolutely.
become an everyday player, right? And I draw the parallels to fitness and diet, right? Because everybody starts a diet on a Monday, or what New Year's would just happen on January 1st. That's it. 2023. I'm losing it. The first week goes by and everything's perfect, and then after that, I messed up. I ate this, I ate that. Or I didn't go to the gym. That's it. So if I didn't go to the gym today, it's over. No. Tomorrow, start again. Try again. And you must continue to try again, because that is exactly how you will ride the bike. And even if you're not perfect, even if you didn't meditate today and tomorrow, but you did meditate on Wednesday, okay. Better
Don't
than-
beat yourself up for it, because
Better-
that's just
better than
Yeah.
the 0 times you did
Absolutely.
2 months ago. And if you have that vision for everything, I think you're gonna do okay. I really think so, because it's the no quit attitude. you know?
Yeah, it's but it's not even about the no. It's not even about no. You won't quit if you keep practicing. So don't even make it about no quit or this or that. It's if you just make it a constant practice and apply it every day of your life, the gains are going to be there. You're going to see it. You're going to notice it, and it's going to be a practice that you're going to want to now make a way that you live your life. So it's not going to be like just going to the gym because I have to go to the gym. It's going to be like, no, I want to do this because I see the benefit from it. I inherently see the benefit every day
Yeah.
in my life. And I'm not talking about, well, okay, if I stop working out, well, if you stop working out, you're going to lose muscle mass. The beauty of awareness is once you obtain it, you don't lose it, but you can strengthen it. Like, you don't lose that base. So once you have it, now, I mean, listen, can you go unconscious again where you get, I guess you can. I'm sure you can, but it would be it wouldn't be as easy for that to happen, because once you have that foresight to see yourself think and to be able to catch those emotions before they come up and understand what's going on, you don't lose that. Like, it's once that awareness, once you become aware that you're aware, that really doesn't go away. Now it's, okay, but how aware do I want to be? How more profound do I want this, how deep do I want this to go where I could really just be a presence of everything around me?
Your path to awareness doesn't disappear.
No.
So once you have this awareness, it's impossible to get rid of that path and be unaware, unless you specifically pull a bunch of dirt and rocks.
It's harder.
Right?
It's a little bit more difficult once you have it to lose it. You might not implement it all the time. You might have a lot of slip-ups. Like I said, it might be just a little bit of an awareness, like just enough to you to notice what you did, even after you did it.
But you have to be conscious. The way you're conscious on working on awareness, I believe, to go reverse, you'd have to go conscious about working on not. So what I just told you about 10 out of 10, I would clap back. But now I find myself, I'm more of a 4 out of 10, and I'm working on being a 3, a 2, a 1, and then 0.
And 0.
I think by the time I arrive to 0, I'm at a good place. I'm at a new place. I'm at a better place. I would have to reverse. I would have to now clap back, clap back, clap. I'd have to make a conscious effort.
Yeah, for it
To
to become
go
a
back.
habit, to really, for it to become a behavior that you implement
Yeah.
daily, it would take a little bit of time. Now, can it happen? Yes. If you're unconscious enough, it's like everything else. You could get dragged out of it. But like that base awareness, it's very hard to lose it. So once you become conscious and aware that, oh, wow, yeah, I noticed I said that. I noticed I did that. I noticed that feeling coming up. And you still might react on it in the beginning, but that only gets, the more you implement it, that, like I said, that space only gets greater and greater. And if you're far enough down the path, you don't want to, like there's no urge to go back there. So
Yeah.
for me, if you wanted to argue something with me right now, not only would it be difficult because I choose not to, I honestly, and I can say this, I've lost the ability to properly argue with somebody. Like, I can't anymore put the words together to like argue, not to have a conversation. Like, hey, Henry, You know, what do you think about what's going on here? You know, it's whatever. Like,
Right.
Conversation's different. But like, if somebody wanted to argue, like, all right,
Right.
let's argue.
Right.
I honestly, it's like I forgot how to argue almost. I don't know how to argue anymore. So you get to that point where it's almost like it's not even like a skill set that I have anymore. It's, okay, I sound like a babbling buffoon if you wanted me to argue with you. I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't know what to say.
But it doesn't matter because you're an Italian from Brooklyn and you just break their legs with a baseball bat.
No, but it's just funny because I've noticed it when I'm in conversations with somebody. And I'm like, even if I wanted to argue with this person right now,
Yeah.
I'm like, whether it's I don't have the words or the strength or maybe it's just not there anymore. It's not there. So the point I was trying to make is, like, if mindfulness and awareness and whether it's like through meditation or just being aware of what's going on and practicing presence is something you do daily, like that's somewhere where you get to. Like there's no urge to want to be right anymore. Like maybe that's a better way to put it. When I say I can't argue, I don't have an urge to want to be right in a conversation.
That's better said.
Yeah, right. But look, I know it makes it sound like I can't get the words out, but I can't argue because maybe that urge isn't there anymore.
Yep.
So that's probably a better way to put it,
said.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, where
Because I would say, like, you know, I'd like to see you
Argue?
in a situation. This is how I know that you can argue because you'd have to get in a situation where it's fight or flight, and you would be arguing.
But fight or flight fight or flight has nothing to do with arguing. Fight or flight is just what we've
No.
replaced actual fight or flight with, and we've put argue in there because we don't have to run away from like a danger anymore.
I think if you were cornered in a situation where you have to argue, I think no.
You know, I've
Wow.
been cornered in situations where I have to argue, and I've chosen to walk away.
Okay.
I've literally chosen to get up, say I don't need to be part of this conversation, and
See?
walk away.
This is why you're
But
closer to a 10 than me.
but I'll tell you a story without. So I was at a gathering not too long ago, and somebody in the family said, so last election I voted for somebody. I'm not going to say who I voted for, but even though I really, whatever. Anyway, it wasn't accepted in the group I was in, what I did. So somebody else said something to me, and I kind of got up, started to walk away, and they kept coming at me a little bit. I was like, okay. It got to the point where I felt like, why am I getting attacked?
Right.
I didn't even bring this conversation up. I want nothing to do with this. I just said, and I said it forcefully, I said, I don't need to answer any of these questions, and I walked out of the room.
Right.
So yes, did I feel the urge to want to be? Yes, I did. But while it was there was this other part of me that saw it and said, I don't like how this feels.
Right.
Let's get away from this because this isn't what we want to do.
What's the point?
What's the point? And I literally walked out. But when I walked out, it took a good 5 or 10 minutes because that emotional wake that we talked about last week,
Yep.
like, because this came out of nowhere. Like,
The train.
Yeah, this was a train. Like, you turned, like, I didn't even hear it. It was stealth. It just came and hit me. Like, I got bombarded from a few different people. So it was like, like, all right, okay. I went outside. I felt it in me, like this pulsating. I just sat outside for 5 or 10 minutes. Slowly, that pulsating. I noticed it, and I noticed it was there. I wasn't like, oh, God damn it, these people are. I was like, wow, I feel you. I see you. You're there. And I watched it. I allowed it to be there. I accepted that it was there 110%. I didn't push it away. I didn't try to make believe it wasn't there. I didn't try to justify it. And as quickly as it came up, it started to just dissipate. And like every second I felt the next wave was less, the next wave was less, the next wave was less, the next wave was less.
Bro,
And then the seas got calm pretty quickly.
I'm so happy because that's the same thing that I would go through. And let me ask you this, in your cool down process.
Felt good, actually.
No, because this is awesome. I like, this is good info because I go through this and I don't know who to compare it to. So now I have a basis. I have somebody to compare it to.
You have a 10. You're comparing it to a
Well,
10.
yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned. So,
Kidding.
so in your cool down period,
Yeah.
as you're coming down, and I'm going to use numbers, all right, shoot me. So you went outside,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say you're a 10, but you were a 9 and you felt it going.
Oh, I felt the tension in my
Right?
body.
You
In
felt
my
it
body,
going.
I felt the tension. Yeah,
So
sure.
now you go from a 10 to a 9 to an 8 to a 7 to a 6. And now you're feeling better because things are better and you go 4, 3, 2, 1. But does it ever happen to you that when you go from a 10 to a 9 to 8 to 7 and then 7, 6, and then go 7, 8 again and then
Why, okay, here's a great.
you know what I mean?
Why does it go from a 6 to an 8 again? What happened? Something happened that made it go from a 6 to an 8. Doesn't do it on its own.
The ego is having a battle.
There was a thought that came in when you were at a 6 and said, but no, what the fuck?
It's a
You know,
battle.
what the heck? You
Right,
know,
right,
and
right, right.
and all of a sudden, Henry's not like, doesn't want to engage in this, but Henry engaged with the thought in his mind
Yeah.
and started watching the thought going, yeah.
So very normal.
Yeah, yeah, and all of a sudden 6, 7, 8, and then he goes, "Whoa, okay,
Come
let's."
back down.
So the point is, you got caught up, and so the wave came, and you took that wave, and you went for a ride on it, and then you look back, you said, "No, no, no, no,
Yep.
I'm gonna let
Back
go.
up.
Let me float again," and you let go of it. So the only reason you went from a 6 back to an 8 is because there was a thought pattern in there that you got caught up in conversation in your head.
Yep.
And you might not even know what it was.
No, yeah.
But you got caught up in it, and
Yeah.
and again, all it did, what the ego did was it started infuriating you again. It's like the conversation we had before we started.
Yep.
With the phone call, you said that person called you,
Yep.
hung up, and then 15 minutes later, that person called you back in a rage. And I said, "Why do you think that person called you back?"
Right.
I said, "Because in the 15 minutes that they hung up and they called you back, they had a few conversations with themselves,
themselves.
where they were like, I got to tell this SOB a
right.
piece of my mind," and they called you back.
Right.
So
Yeah. because
that's why it happens.
and I thought.
From my experience, that's why it happens.
And let me tell you why I say this to you, because thank you for sharing that. Because as it's happening to me, I'm thinking, just like the meditation, I'm failing at this.
No.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But quite the opposite. No, quite the opposite. I'm succeeding at this. And again, what's the point? What's the point of? By the way, this is me talking. Anybody who knows me, listening, knows how I feel about politics. But what's the point of me having to argue with this person who makes no difference of who I voted for, who he voted for, whatever happened here? That makes no difference. It makes no difference of anything.
No.
But you know what does make a difference? Having a decent time with the person. Because I don't see you often, so
Up until that point, it was a very nice evening. It really was. And then it just took one match to ignite a bunch of egos in a household.
yeah.
Right? And while my fuse was starting to get hot because it was blowtorches
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
at me, but I was able to walk away. I walked into the other room. I was going to I actually grabbed a cigar because I was going to go out to have a cigar a couple of minutes before that. Grabbed the cigar, got my cutter, walked back, just forcefully said, "I don't need to have this conversation with anybody." And I left. Because I don't I have nothing to prove. I have nothing to justify with anybody. I wasn't trying to. You guys all want to know why I did something that I did. I'm sorry.
And I'm going to make an observation
Yeah,
right now.
sure.
Check it. This is great. This is how you know we're progressing here.
Yeah.
Because in the old days, we would have this conversation with another spin, and then I would probably tell you, "What an asshole." We haven't said that. We haven't said that.
No, because it's not. When I was done with that, I didn't harbor any "what an asshole," "what this," "what that."
Actually, you feel a little bit bad.
Even yes, because I felt bad because I'm like this this didn't have to happen.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I could do because you can't stop that from happening. You could just stop your reaction, and the best way to do it is to remove yourself, right? So like Eckhart Tolle always says, he goes, you could accept the situation, you could change the situation, or you could leave it,
Yeah.
right? So I couldn't change that situation if I
there's no
tried.
space for you.
I did accept it, but it was so forceful, staying there made no sense, so I chose to leave it. So anything else besides those three is just going to bring you some sort of suffering, because now you're going to choose to engage in a behavior that's not going to benefit you at all. Like somebody's going to be upset, angry, blood pressure is going to go up, you're going to be all tense, something's going to hurt. For what? I choose relaxed, I choose peace, no matter what's going on, because that's only going to help me clearly see a way through whatever's happening at that moment.
So this mindfulness practice allows you
Yes.
to control your emotions in a very productive way.
To allow your emotions to be there in a very productive
There
way.
you go.
Yeah, you
Thank
don't want
you.
to control them.
Thank you, but
Yeah.
thank you because I'm using yesterday, just like you,
Yesterday,
just like you know, whippersnapper.
Whippersnapper. You whippersnappers.
So it allows you to be careful with those emotions. I was
Yeah.
like controlling them.
Yeah. Oh, it's-
But it allows you also to not have judgment on that asshole of, you know, where we would use that vocabulary, let's say, yesterday.
Oh, and by the way, those words were, I mean,
Yeah.
those words were flying through my head.
Sure,
They were
sure.
flying. I would just watch them fly through my head, like asshole, jerk off. I mean, like, how dare they? Why they attack? Like, that was flying through my head.
But it also allows you for another thing,
Yeah.
which is, I'm telling you, like, if you're looking at the big picture, this is it. That if that person, literally 30 seconds or a minute later, wants to engage in something productive, we're there,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're there. And if anything, as again, referring to Scott Adams, when somebody says to him, well, don't hang out with that guy because he's a dick. He's like, well, what makes you think that I'm going to be a dick? What makes you think that he won't be more mindful? What
Yeah.
makes you think that he won't see what's going on? And he might say, man, that
Yeah,
kinda-
listen, and that's absolutely true. You just have to, there's a difference between when somebody, this has nothing to do with my situation, but there's a difference when somebody, you know, has the ability to be mindful, because there are people, unfortunately, who are out there who don't have that ability, and putting yourself constantly around them can be very toxic. So you need to,
Yeah.
you need to have that so if you have that awareness, you'll see that. You'll know this is a person that, doesn't see life how I see life, you know? So,
You know what happened here?
what?
Another dining room table conversation.
Oh, yeah, we went a few minutes longer than we would, so. But,
yeah. So I enjoy it.
yeah, no, look, and before we started this podcast, look, what are we going to talk about today? And we literally said,
Yeah.
let's just start it.
Turn it on.
Henry's like, let's jump off a cliff. I'm like, let's jump off a cliff and see
Turn
what
it on.
happens. Let's turn it on.
No,
So
but
it just comes up.
I think I love that where you have a situation and we look at the cube from all four sides, underneath, up top, and just the different benefits that you have that you didn't even know. I didn't notice this benefit where I would normally critique and
So this is what I love about this show is it's becoming, there's a different spin on mindfulness that we put onto this.
Yeah.
Right? People tend to always say mindfulness is, you know, like I said, the meditation, the this, the that, those atypical kind of things that you hear about being mindful and presence. But I like that we're putting this everyday kind of relatable spin on it,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, hey, this is what happened to me. I'm a person who's been practicing for 7 years.
Yeah.
So, good?
Agreed. Yeah, because it's what makes this, let's say, usable.
Yeah.
Because if you just tune in to, you know, get hey, what's John up to? Okay, great, you know? But if you're tuning in because in silence, this is your way of taking your first step.
Yes.
Without anybody's critique, without anybody asking you or saying anything, good for you. And this makes it relatable. So, because I'm sure all of us have interactions every day, and this should help, and I hope it helps. And
Yeah, no, it does. It does help.
any
It will.
questions, any things, topics, hit us up. You know, we
Yeah.
have the YouTube, we have the Facebook, we have.
We're definitely working on all that. Henry's spent a lot of time with the YouTube channel. He's going to get that up. Things will be spewing out. I guess you'll see posts and stuff. And as far as all the other stuff, we're working on the whole social media aspect to try to promote this and get it out there. But again, with the hopes of just reaching more people. It's
Yeah, man.
And that's why if you have friends that you think could benefit from hearing two regular guys who've kind of been on paths speak about this, and maybe you think they would be beneficial to them, let them know about it. And again, it's not a popularity contest. It's we just want to reach as many people as we can, and we feel this is a great avenue to do it. So
Yeah. Very good.
close it up.
Wrapped up.
Wrap it up. All right, guys. So if we can, for the next minute, guys, just take a couple of deep breaths. Let's try to slow it down after this lovely episode. And just watch those thoughts as they come in and out of your mind. So for the next 60 seconds, please, again, I implore you, take the time to do this. And I'll come back at the end of the 60 seconds. All right. Everybody have a lovely week, and we will talk to you soon.
Super. See you
All
guys.
right, peace.